You're about to watch the orientation video for Falls Creek 2018. This video will be presented in two parts. The first part is our Falls Creek work group that's just going to provide essential information about how to register for camp, some requirements for camp, what's new for 2018. And so I'm sure you'll enjoy that. The second part of the video is a presentation by Ministry Safe. You want to make sure and pay particular attention to the information that's contained in that video, as it is vital for keeping students safe at camp. And at the end of the entire video, there will be a quiz on information that was given to you in the first part of the video with the Falls Creek work group. So make sure and pay particular attention to it as well, as you get the information you'll need for the quiz to go on and register your group. We look forward to seeing you at Falls Creek 2018. Hello and welcome to orientation for Falls Creek 2018. We're so glad that you've decided to come to camp at Falls Creek this summer. Our theme this summer, as you can see right here, is finish. And we're taking that from Philippians 1:6, which talks about he who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it until the day of Christ Jesus. We're going to talk about what it means to walk in the spiritual disciplines that God's given us until the day that He completes us in Christ. And so it's going to be a fun summer as we talk about those things. But we want to be sure and give you a lot of information that you need in order to come to camp and make sure that you're well prepared to deal with all the issues you got to deal with in order just to get to camp and be ready to go. So let's talk about some of those. First, I need to let you know there are 5 requirements for every church that comes to Falls Creek and participates. The first requirement is you need to be a Southern Baptist church or a church that agrees with the basic beliefs of Southern Baptist. Those can be found on our Scopos website. As a matter of fact, all the information that you can want to know about Falls Creek can be found on our Scopos website at scopos.org. That's skopos.org/Falls Creek. And if you'll go there, then you'll find that, and you can find the basic beliefs of Southern Baptist. If your church agrees with those, then obviously you can participate, or as I said, if you're a Southern Baptist church. Second, one of the requirements is obviously that you need to watch this online orientation and then complete the quiz that's at the end of it. Now, I'm going to say that the person who needs to watch this orientation video is the youth leader or the lead sponsor, the person who's going to be in charge of the group at Falls Creek when you're at camp. So if like you're the intern watching this, or just the church administrator, or the assistant,
seventh grade.
Yeah, if you're just like an 8th grader
student
watching this, you need to go get the youth pastor and you need to watch this video. It's required for you to watch it so that you have this information. It's very important that you have this information for camp. The third thing that's a requirement is that the leader must complete all of the required forms for coming to camp and must adhere to all the information that those ask for. And so you've got some different forms that ask for things like the Code of Conduct and Dress Code Church Compliance form. By the way, that form itself requires the senior pastor's signature, and you need to have that on there before you come to camp, because some of your senior pastors don't come to camp with you during the week, and we need to have the pastor's signature on that. Don't get to camp without it. It's important. We need to have all of those forms, and we need to have them completed to the last detail. It's important to do that. That includes a background check compliance form. And you'll see that, all the different forms that you have there at camp as you begin the registration process. The fourth requirement is that you attend all of our services, we just really have 2 big services that we corporately, all the groups meet during the day. It's one in the morning worship service, and the evening worship service. But we also provide times during the day for a quiet time, an in-cabin Bible study, and then also time for an evening devotion. And so the churches, you need to participate in those inside your cabin, and with your students, those things are required in order to be at Falls Creek. So you're saying, yes, we will do those things and adhere to the schedule on those at that time. And I will say this too, you need to. This is kind of a thing we've dealt with in the last few years, Ty. On the in-cabin Bible study, which is at around 11:15 to 12 o'clock this year on the schedule. You hear that later when you hear a little more about the schedule. Some groups go out and have had like games openly out in open areas of the campus, and we can't do that. You guys need to be in your cabin and have your Bible study either right around your cabin or inside your cabin for the in-cabin Bible study time. And then the last of the 5 requirements is simply that you need to adhere to the dress code and the code of conduct. Make sure that we provide a student sheet for you so you can send it out to students, and one for parents that includes both the dress code and the code of conduct, so that your kids will know how to dress and how to act when they're at camp. And I will say the dress code has changed slightly this year, so make sure that you look at that dress code. It's not the same as it's been before. There have been some changes. Note that and make sure that you are in compliance. You and your group are in compliance with the dress code and the code of conduct. Those are the 5 things that we require in order to come to camp, and it sets us up to have a good week altogether.
You know what they say, Andy?
What do they say?
They say you can't spell Falls Creek without participation.
Okay, I don't really think that person's educated. Whoever said that.
I heard that. Maybe they don't say that. But here's what we do say at Falls Creek is that we have some guidelines, okay, with Falls Creek, and just some things you need to understand as you register your group related to coming to camp, bringing a group. First of all, that every church that is on grounds needs to register and pay separately. And we do that for a number of reasons, okay? So reason number 1 is that we can have an accurate accounting in our registration process. 2, that we can have accurate records of BGCO and non-BGCO churches that are on grounds that are present each week. And probably the greatest reason is, the biggest reason is that, for camper safety, that Falls Creek and Falls Creek Program Conference Center and Falls Creek Programming would be able to know who is on grounds at any given time. And if we don't register separately, you don't have your group registered separately, then it makes it more difficult.
Explain what you mean by that, by registering separately, because you may have basically these. You have a cabin holds 50, and there's 3 groups in there that have only like 10 or 15 each. They're staying there together. Sometimes they want to register as one group. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yes, yeah. So if you're sharing a cabin, if you're coming with other churches in the same cabin, then each of those churches needs to submit their own registration and come as its own entity, even though you might be sharing space and resources for the week, which is great to do, but we still need an accurate record of those churches so we can handle the accounting appropriately, and so we can have a track of students who are on ground. So make sure that you register all churches separately, pay separately, for your registration process to go smoothly. And then also, just to point out, this year the fees remain the same in 2018. That includes registration and then also the non-BGCO programming fee. And remember that non-BGCO church programming fee is 1 to 49 students is $200 for your group. And then 50 to 99 students is $250. And then anything 100 students and above is going to be $300. So very affordable, but for non-BGCO churches to participate in camp, we ask that you pay those programming fees, and they remain the same in 2018.
This is not, camp doesn't come off with an effort of just 2 or 3 people. We actually have a lot of people that are involved in helping camp to happen during the summer. One of those groups is our Falls Creek Work Group. Mm-hmm. And so we have several youth pastors around the state that we gather together to help us plan and implement Falls Creek. And so we're going to let them help us give you more information in regard to orientating your group for Falls Creek for the summer.
Hey, I'm Mike Lester from Crosspoint Church in Norman.
And I'm Aaron Myers of First Baptist Church of Lawton, Oklahoma.
And we want to be able to tell you about the schedule. And there's, of course, more changes. Hey, we're good at that,
yeah,
right?
We're good, yeah. It's
Andy
exciting.
likes to do a lot of changes.
Yeah,
so.
it's new, and it's exciting.
Yeah. So, with a little bit of change, there's not a whole lot of change, just a little bit. So we're going to start off, of course, with breakfast. Breakfast is going to start at 8 o'clock. And so we love breakfast.
Yeah.
Bacon?
Yeah.
All right.
Gotta
And so, so whichever you do. So breakfast at 8 o'clock. And then we'll move into quiet times at 8:40, and that'll be for everybody. And so you can do your devotional. And then your lead sponsor, whoever's going to be going to that meeting with Andy, it will be at 9 o'clock. And so you want to be there on time. You don't want to be behind that. You're going to get all your who's playing volleyball when and all that kind of stuff. Get kind of the next stuff for that day and kind of know what's going on. And so you'll want to be at that meeting and be able to catch up on that stuff.
And ask Andy funny questions sometimes. That's always a good time.
Yeah, because he's always in a good mood.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's actually at 9 o'clock in the morning.
So. He is. And then at 9:10, you want to get your students down there for Tabernacle, and it will start. And it is called this year Surge. And so you're going to sit in the same seats as you did the night before, so it's easy to find. You don't have to fight for that. And there's going to be a lot of high energy music, a lot of games, and so it's going to be a little bit of a switch. There will be a little bit of worship on the end of that as we get ready for the teaching time, but ultimately it's going to be get yourself going. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we're excited about a few little changes there.
So at 10 o'clock, then the middle school 7th and 8th graders will dismiss and go to the event center. The high schoolers will stay in the tabernacle, and then our ones that just graduated will go to next chapter in the chapel.
Don't forget, when the middle school goes over there, like, you should send an adult.
Yeah, that'd be a great idea.
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea. And so then at 10:10, worship experience will begin in teaching. And then at 10:50, we're going to dismiss the morning worship service. And so then it'll be back to in-cabin devotion time or in-cabin Bible study. The materials provided for you. It starts at 11:15. And that's a little earlier than we've been in the past. And so that we can be doing lunch at noon. Scheduled time is noon lunch. And then recreation and free time starts at 1:30, so that gives us a little bit more time built in so that you can have a good Bible study in cabin, lunch, and then have time to get to recreation and the free time activities starting at 1:30.
Yeah, that way you just don't have to hurry so much. So
Yeah.
that's a little bit of a change for lunchtime, and so I think it's going to work out well for everybody.
So, and then one other thing that we want to make you aware of is the invitation training time at 6:30 p.m. in the chapel on Monday and Tuesday. That's a little bit earlier than it has been in the past, but we want to make you aware of that as well. And so hopefully these changes with the schedule, 15 minutes here and there, but we think that it'll really help us out this year, continuing making Fall Street more fluid and go well. So
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Brandon Holloway. I'm the youth pastor from First Baptist Church of Cherokee.
And I'm Dustin Stopman. I'm the youth pastor at First Baptist Church in Clinton. And today I get to talk to you about the My 5, all right? So it's not, is it this, like that?
Yeah.
That's going to help
Yeah.
missions. See, we're not even very good at
It's not
fives,
that. It's
all
not
right?
that.
So I think it's like $5 though, but I was just checking out. Man, I don't have anything. Brandon, do you have a 5? Dude,
Yeah.
I need it. Come on, help me out this time.
Bro, I gotta eat. Okay, here.
Dude.
$5. There you
Go
go.
get your comics and else.
Okay.
Okay, so it's the My 5. It's the offering. This helps to fund our students going on mission trips through Go Students. It also helps to support our One Life project. This year, our One Life project is called One Safe House, which goes to help human trafficking and rescuing young women from human trafficking around the world. And we will also be selling a special wristband that you can get in the gift shop that says Rescue Them for $5. All right here, get you a cool wristband, which will go to help that My 5 offering and help those One Life projects and students going on missions. And you can learn more about that in the sponsor book or on onelifematters.org. It's a little funny. Okay, if you look it up there, it's going to be called One Brothel. All right, we changed the name for obvious reasons.
Right.
Okay, but support it. Bring your $5. Be a part of it.
Right. Encourage your students to bring their $5. Also encourage them to maybe start thinking about the breakout sessions that they want to attend this year. We're still offering a full line of breakouts and special events. Kind of as usual, those are kind of either going to be about spiritual growth or hot topics or life skills. And those are going to be pretty much every afternoon, Tuesday through Friday, from about 2 to 5 p.m. And they're going to be about an hour long, so you can kind of plan on attending those as they see fit. Some of those are going to be, as far as our spiritual growth ones, we've got a 2-part series on Colossians, which will be exciting for them to go to. We're also going to have one that's 5 Bible stories that you need to know. And then we're going to have our evangelism and our worship and our new believers and our call to ministry like we always have. And so those will be available for your students. Our hot topics that we're going to talk about this year are going to be suicide prevention is actually coming back because it was so highly requested. So that'll be interesting. So if you didn't get to go to that last year, you'll be able to do that again this year as well. And then our Project Love, our guys and girls will be able to meet on that as well. As far as life skills, Living Online will be back this year, as well as How to Love in a Hate-Filled World. And so that'll be interesting for your students to approach that, maybe find out ways to engage other people at their school or around them as well. As far as special events that we have, obviously we're going to have the Missions Forum after the service in the chapel like we usually do. ALI will continue to meet this year. And then a couple of new things. We're going to have a special gathering for ministry spouses and women in ministry one day. That's, I think, on Thursday from 2 to 3, which will be a neat little event for them to come and just hang out together and get to fellowship. And then we're also going to be doing, in addition to our apologetics forum, we're going to have an apologetics question and answer time where students will be able to come in and just ask questions that they're thinking about. So that'll be a great time for them to kind of think on some stuff that they'd like to ask, and then come in and pose that so that they can get those questions answered that they're looking for. And then this is also our second year where we'll be doing the Appleby Society on Friday night. And so encourage your students to come to that, to hear other students that God has called to ministry, and to support those guys as well.
Hey, I'll give that back, man. But I need it this summer. Okay?
Hey, I'll keep it for camp. How's that?
All right. Sounds
cool.
good.
I'm Quentin Revere from First Baptist Church in Elmore City.
Hey, and I'm Jerry Young from First Moore.
We're going to be talking about the new rec venues this year at Falls Creek. So Jerry's going to start us off. Tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really cool. See, the first thing that we've got changed this year is kickball has actually been moved to the stage of the Tabernacle. Should give us plenty of room to be able to have fun and maybe get engaged with the band a little.
I don't know what you memorized, man, but the notes say that the kickball's been moved to the new field on the south end of the rec fields. So I don't know that they're going to appreciate us kicking kickballs off the stage, but it would be fun. But
okay, so where is it then?
It's on the new field on the south end of the rec fields.
Okay, fine. What I am actually really excited about, though, is that we have this new thing. It's Ultimate Fighting Championship. It's actually going to take place in the chapel Tuesday to Thursday. You don't have to have any experience for that at all. You can just show up and start.
It says Ultimate Field, Ultimate Frisbee, not UFC, not the Ultimate Fighting Championship. This is Ultimate Field.
So Ultimate Frisbee competition,
Ultimate Frisbee, and that will be open every day.
You should be careful with initials, though.
Yeah, that's true. But it will be located on the south end, also down by the kickball fields in the rec field area.
Okay. Something I am going to take advantage of, though, is the slingshot. This is this really cool new game where you, as youth leaders, get to take tennis balls, shove them inside this launcher, and go after middle school students. Those ones that may or may not be on your hit list. And you just target these middle school students with these tennis balls. You just beat them with these tennis balls. That's really cool.
Jerry, I don't know that Falls Creek would appreciate that, but there are some middle school students that probably deserve that. But it's okay. That's what they get for keeping us up late at night till 3 p.m. 3 a.m. in the morning. It's okay.
3 p.m.
But let's not recommend shooting those at middle school students. That wouldn't be a good idea.
So slingshot is not for targeting middle school students?
No, there's actually a hoop that you're going to be shooting these tennis balls through. It'll be a pretty awesome experience getting to do that. So please don't target your middle school students.
Where's that going to be at?
That's going to be down at the south end of the rec fields also.
Okay. One of my favorites, though, actually really is disc golf. Not disc golf. That's completely different.
I'm not sure what that is.
Disc golf is completely new. It's been revamped. It's a new 9-hole course, and it looks really, really good.
Jerry, I'm really glad you got that one right. That's good. I'm glad you actually read the notes on that one. That'll be a lot of fun. It's a new and improved golf course. Go down there and throw some frisbee around, test your frisbee throwing skills. It'll be a lot of fun. So we look forward to all these new rec venues that are going to be happening down at Falls Creek, down at the rec fields.
Hey, you're going to enjoy it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see you there.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever the time may be, where you are. My name is Josh McKee. I'm the student minister at Wilmont Place Baptist Church in Oklahoma City.
My name is Dakota Scott, and I'm the youth minister at First Baptist Lindsay in Lindsay, Oklahoma.
So most of you, that we've offered students for the last many years an opportunity to spend significant amount of time with God through our 1 hour of solitude. And this year is going to be the same thing. We're going to offer 1 hour of solitude. It's actually going to be an interactive time at the brand new Centennial Prayer Garden. It's going to be a great time for students to go, and whenever they walk up, there will be some signs there that offer them different aspects of prayer and worship and contemplation, and just a great time for them to really take some time to connect and spend some time with God. It'll be good.
Yeah, let me encourage you to get your students involved, and maybe you go with them. It'll be a good time, interactive, like he said. I think if you did it as a group, it would be really great. Mm-hmm. So, drop the mic. Yeah. Each Wednesday night we have a concert. His name is Fidel and he's a rapper. It will be in the Centennial Plaza. It will be legit and you won't want to miss it. Whoa, wait. Oh, by the way, we'll also have free stuff and it'll be really fun. That's it. I love it.
My name is Gregory Love. I'm a sexual abuse lawyer and one of the co-founders and directors of Ministry Safe. For For the last several years, we've been working closely with the Baptist General Convention of Oklahoma and several Baptist churches in Oklahoma. In addition, we've been working with Falls Creek to make sure that's the safest environment possible to be able to pursue kingdom activities. Now, a camp experience can be very enriching. It's an opportunity to get away, to be undistracted, retreat into a beautiful place, oftentimes in this case surrounded by believers, other people who love the Lord. And at Falls Creek, it offers just that. It's a beautiful place, and it's the opportunity to combine worship and instruction with beauty and activity. Falls Creek offers the opportunity for children and adults to enjoy a camp experience. Now, one of the roles of Falls Creek is to make this beautiful place available, but you see there's a couple things unique about Falls Creek. You see, the structures, the cabins, the cottages are built by, owned, and operated by Baptist churches around the state. And those Baptist churches bring their groups to those places and enjoy the facilities that's provided by Falls Creek. Many of those churches make those cabins and cottages available to outside groups to bring in to this same beautiful place. So it's awesome facilities, but oftentimes there's people that don't know one another coming in and enjoying those properties and activities and facilities. Let's spend a moment and talk about risk at camp. You see, camp programming, any camp, presents unique risks. And sadly, one of those risks involves child sexual abuse. I want to spend a little bit of time talking to you about that risk and what is the responsibility the church has to reduce those risks. Make sure those risks are manageable. As I start to unfold what these risks look like, I want to tell you in advance, if we got to look at the back of the math book and check the answer that I'm going to suggest to you is what we need to do is screen, train, and supervise, just like we should be in our churches. Now, I want to walk you through a couple of concepts to show you what I mean by that. The first one is a risk management concept. And the risk management concept is this: the chain is only as strong as the weakest link. And what I'm going to suggest to you is that all of us are a link in that chain. But the first thing we need to understand is if there's risk, where does the risk come from? What does the risk look like? So if I'm going to talk about a risk management concept, we first need to understand what risk are we dealing with and where does that risk come from? So from my perspective, the risk generally comes from two different places. There's the risks that come from outside the fence, the uninvited risk, and there's also the risks that exist inside the fence from the people that are invited in, the people that are supposed to be there. Now, as it relates to the risk outside the fence, you'll notice that there is effort being made by Falls Creek to make sure that if you're not invited, you don't come in. So as it relates to the risks that come from outside the fence, from Falls Creek's standpoint, that's on us. We'll take care of that. So you'll see some fencing, you'll see property staff, you'll see us taking and making effort to ensure that what risks exist outside the fence, we'll do our best to take care of that. Now let's talk about the risk inside the fence. Now the risk inside the fence is presented by people that are on property that are supposed to be there. Now some of those people involve the Falls Creek staff. So I want you to understand, in terms of our responsibility as a link in that chain, there is effort being made to ensure that the staff are screened, trained, and supervised, just as I mentioned earlier. So as the screening goes and the training and the supervision, Falls Creek is using the Ministry Safe system to be able to understand the risk and reduce that risk. As it relates to screening, there's the use of those screening tools you'll find on the Ministry Safe system. In addition, there's background checks run. There's the training of the Falls Creek staff and the supervision of the Falls Creek staff. So as it relates to the risks of our link in the chain, we're taking the right steps to ensure that we are going to be an effective link in that chain. Now, the Falls Creek staff is not the only set of people on property. What we need to understand, especially because of the uniqueness of Falls Creek, that the cottages and cabins are owned by Baptist churches and ministries that make them available to other groups. When there are people invited into this unique property, We need to understand now there are people on property that may present risk, because you're bringing in adult sponsors, you're bringing in other children. And when you have a collection of folks all bringing different folks that then mix in some of these activities, we need to make sure that each one of these places bringing folks in is a link in that chain and is doing the things necessary to make sure the chain stays strong. What we need to understand in terms of the risk that happens inside the fence, that sometimes comes from adult sponsors being brought by a church into property. Let me spend a minute talking about this risk management concept of the chain is only as strong as the weakest link as it relates to Falls Creek. I want to ensure that we're not walking in with 3 common assumptions that are actually wrong. Let me talk about those assumptions first before I talk to you about what I expect you to do to be the strong link that you're required to be in that chain. So a couple things to not assume. Please don't assume that risk comes from outside the fence only. Many people will come to a camp experience and think, I'm finally in a beautiful place. I'm finally in a place that I can relax. The children can run around and play and meet other children, and I can take the opportunity, sit down with other adults, and turn my life off for a little while. But what I need us to understand is, please don't assume that all the risk comes from outside the fence. You see, there is a significant amount of risk that can happen inside the fence, and it comes from 2 primary places. Either adult sponsors with ill intent, or from children that are either sexually aggressive, physically aggressive, or bullies in some way. So the 3 things I don't want us to assume. First, don't assume risk comes from outside the fence, and this is your opportunity to close your eyes and rest. Second, don't assume the other adults, whether they're a part of your group or someone else's group, are without risk. We need to understand risk can come from the adult sponsors from your group or someone else's group. Don't assume just because someone's an adult that's coming with a church's group that they are free from risk. And finally, don't assume that every other child, whether they're in your group or in someone else's group, don't present a risk, whether it's a bullying risk, physical abuse, sexual abuse. So with those assumptions put away, we need to understand there's a responsibility we have. We don't close our eyes and rest, and we get the training we need so that we can effectively supervise our adult sponsors, other people's adult sponsors as it relates to our children, and who our children interact with, whether we brought those children or someone else did. Now, for many of you, understanding the risk of child sexual abuse may be new, and it might seem challenging, maybe even daunting. But I want you to understand we're trying to do the best we can to make that possible for you. So if I'm asking you to be the strong link you're supposed to be in that chain, I want to help you be able to do that. Now, many of you are already Ministry Safe members and know that there's a robust system available that can allow you to get the tools you need, whether it's screening forms, the training for the screening, the background check, the sexual abuse awareness training, which gives the eyes to see and the ears to hear what risk looks like so you can effectively supervise it. Many of you already know that. I would just encourage you, take that Ministry Safe system and start using it as it relates to the group you're going to bring onto Falls Creek, or to encourage it of the folks you're going to allow to rent your property. Now, for those of you who are not Ministry Safe members, it's easy to use. Simply go to ministrysafe.com and you can walk through the different ways in which screening, training, background check, and supervision tools are provided. In addition, there's also some sample policy forms. Because as we supervise, it's also important to understand setting the appropriate boundaries for the group that you bring is very important. Letting them know this is where we want you to go and not go, when it's daylight or when it's dark. Or what groups you can be with at what times and in what way. What is appropriate touch? What's appropriate talk? So if you can create clear expectations, then everybody knows what you expect of them. So if you're going to supervise something, you can supervise something you've set boundaries on. So let us know how we can help you do that. What we really want to accomplish is to help you understand the risk. We want to help you understand what your role is in that risk, understanding that we all have a role to play. What we want to do is help you strengthen your link, do your part. So we're encouraging you, get the Ministry Safe system set up, screen your adult sponsors, train your adult sponsors, create the rules and boundaries that you need to put in place, then supervise your adult sponsors. Also supervise the young people that you bring on property. And encourage the folks that if they're going to use or rent your particular property, that they do the same. Because we don't want to allow anybody to bring a group in that threatens that safety within the fence. Because our goal here is to create beautiful property for kingdom opportunities. And those kingdom opportunities can be impacted by a weak link in that chain. So, to make sure that this particular camp stays the best experience possible, do your part while we do ours.